Welcome to An Author Dissects a Narrative with your host, Husna Haze. In this captivating series, we will unravel the intricate tapestries of your favorite movies, TV shows, games, books, and beyond. Prepare to embark on a journey of analysis and exploration as we uncover the hidden gems and profound themes within these beloved narratives. Remember to show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing. For a regular dose of insightful content, let's delve into the realms of storytelling together. Welcome back to the Deconstructed Universe. That's right, we're back. The Husbands of Wisteria Lane. Desperate Housewives isn't just a satirical drama about housewives, it's also a masterclass in the performance of masculinity. While many romanticize Tom Scavo as the good husband, his character arc shows repeated patterns of emotional immaturity, deflection, and passive aggressiveness. We'll dissect key scenes from Lynette and Tom's marriage, examine how the writing frames their dynamic, and explore how other husbands on the lane reflect toxic male archetypes too, from Carlos to Orson to Mike. The Scavos, a marriage in PR, not in practice. Why Tom is a red flag and always was. We're going to kick it off with season 1. Tom is barely around. Lynette is drowning. And when she asks for help, she's gaslit into thinking she's controlling. Key scenes we can focus on are Tom surprising her by quitting his job without telling her. This happens in season 1, episode 23. This is a red flag and sets the tone for Tom's character. Tom wants to feel needed, but not responsible. He frames major decisions as joint when in reality, Lynette bears the brunt of the consequences. His passive aggressiveness is also linked to his fatherhood. Tom wants to be involved as a father. The moment Lynette begins to work again, he's resentful. In season 2, he sabotages Lynette's pitch. Well, why? Because he feels insecure working under her. This is another red flag. He doesn't bring it up maturely. He lashes out instead. He forces the boss to fire himself in season 2, episode 21, so Lynette doesn't get blamed. This is framed as noble, but it's manipulative. Now, the writing choice to make Tom, the nice guy, why he gets the nice guy pass, is because he's shielded by the writers. They frame him as funny, he smiles, he doesn't cheat. Well, he doesn't cheat until season 7. The writing shields him with charm, but he consistently avoids growth and accountability. Lynette, on the other hand, is written as harsh or nagging, a common trope when a woman is competent and tired. Now, the pizza place art. Tom's dream literally becomes Lynette's nightmare in season 3 to season 4. Tom decides to open a restaurant after his midlife crisis. Lynette is reluctantly dragged into it and supports him, as she always does, but ends up doing most of the work again. So some key scenes we can look into are Tom getting depressed and basically refusing to get out of bed, even though he has a whole business he's running in season 3 to 22. Lynette gets cancer, this happens in the season 3 final, and keeps it a secret not to burden Tom. This is a major red flag. Lynette literally hides a life-threatening illness because she knows he can't emotionally or maturely handle it. Now, the emotional avoidance of Tom is basically the size of a glacier. Tom regularly avoids hard conversations and leaves Lynette to manage emotional labor. The show writers on the other hand, show Lynette as difficult when she's really just exhausted and pretending to basically just be happy, because in my opinion she's not happy. But she's exhausted. She's a parent, she has a husband, she has to emotionally do all the labor around, the emotional labor, the hard labor, every labor in that household. She has to do it. She has to fight to keep the marriage. She has to do everything in that marriage. Now, the breakup in season 7 to 8, was the final undoing, basically. When they separate, it's because Lynette was too controlling. But we've seen that Tom forced her to keep on taking on more roles every time because he failed to step up. The key point is when Tom thrives in his new relationship with Jane, he finally grows, but it's after Lynette molded him into the person that he is. Now, this is a writing note for all writers to take away from. The show implies Lynette is the problem because she's hard to love, but that's a deeply gendered read of ambition and resilience. Now, quick takes. Other Wisteria Lane husbands. Carlos Solis. Now, Carlos he's got his red flags, but he has to be one of the ones that I like the most, just based on the fact that him and Gabby are actually a really good match, but he has some red flags as well. So we're gonna see what his red flags are. We're gonna start off with how he's kind of a controlling abuser, unfortunately. He forces Gabby to quit modeling, sabotages her birth control. That is major red flags. Grows eventually, he grows eventually from all of that, but only after massive consequences. So some key redemptions for him are, him becoming, blind and finally listening to Gabby, and him finally relying on Gabby and seeing her as this, being and person that is separate from him, that is not his trophy, that has thoughts and feelings, that is capable of so much, of looking after him, of looking after their household, of looking after their children. Gabby and Carlos kind of started off superficially, but they grow, and I think that time apart that they had really helped them grow as individuals. And then when they came together, they kind of just grew together after all of those struggles they faced. But I have to say, out of all the husbands on Wisteria Lane, Carlos is, I feel like he's a great match with Gabby, and he grew, but, he has his red flags. Now, Mike Delfino, the nice guy trope, but secretive and emotionally distant. Was Susan ever really seen by him, or was she just the dream? Leave that up to you guys. Now, the constant back and forth in their relationship suggests she was more in love with, the idea of Mike than Mike was in love with her. Orson Hodge. Now, this was the darkest arc. Goes from charming to controlling to criminal. It was kind of spiraled, but from the moment that we saw Orson Hodge, I think it tracked for him. Now, he is the classic "I love you, so I'll destroy your life to keep you near me." Nobody wants that. So why this matters? The myth of the good husband. Tom is framed as the man who puts his family first, but in reality, he demands, applause for basic adult responsibilities, things that he is not supposed to be applauded for, things that he's supposed to do anyway, things that, you're supposed to be a parent, you're supposed to be a husband, you're supposed to look after your children, your household, you're supposed to be supportive when your wife gets cancer, things that, nobody should be applauded for. You're a responsible adult. These are things that you should be doing as a mature adult. You shouldn't be getting applauded for them. The show uses humor and charm to gloss over deep emotional neglect and weaponizes incompetence. For many women, watching Lynette isn't too much. She's too alone. And I think that this took a long time after I watched Desperate Housewives. to understand. Like when you were watching it when it first came out, it was kind of like maybe Lynette came across the way the writers wanted her to come across, very nagging, very controlling. But as an adult, as somebody who's gotten better at things and is a writer now, I mean, those writers killed it with the way that they dressed up Lynette, but in reality, Lynette was too alone. She deserved way more than Tom. She should have left him. Like, seriously, left him. Now, these are our final thoughts and questions for listeners. Have you ever been told you're too much in a relationship where you were doing all the work? Is there a desperate housewife's husband you did like, and why? The next episode will be the villain edit, why Bree Vanderkamp was never the problem. See you in the next one. Welcome to the end of the video, and thank you very much for making it to the end. Make sure you check out Vertigo Honor Bound by Blood, the first installment in the Vertigo book series. It is set in 2095 at the heart of the Imperial Champion regime, where Emperor Gregory Champion rules over Earth and the colonies stretching out across the solar system, where there is a virus called the Omega virus that has mutated and changed the political landscape of Earth. This is a story about factions, about coming of age, about the importance of being firm in what you believe in a world where bloodlines matter. What faction are you?
You